I have a completely different ending for the show, if anybody wants to hear it later on, because my ending to Lost is much better than the actual ending. But this is actually something else. When I moved to Columbus, I made a bunch of friends, like through my bulletin board system on VBS. And one of these people, his name was Bart. He speaks up here pretty often. He's like this big, hefty football player kind of guy. And when I met him, he was 17, a junior, and we all would go to, try to be encouraging and so forth. So, he's a big football player in Reynoldsburg. So his senior year, we decided we would go to a bunch of his games. And so he was going to play a game in Marysville. And it was a really big game for him. He was really, very excited about it and so forth. And so my girlfriend at the time, Stephanie, she was going to wear his letter jacket, his football letter jacket, Letterman jacket and all this kind of stuff. And so we were really going to make a big deal out of it. We were going to go there and see the game, and it'll be great, and all that kind of stuff. So this was kind of before Google. It's for Google, and definitely before Google Maps. So I was fairly new to Columbus, so I really didn't know exactly where Marysville was. And I wasn't really certain. And granted, they did make maps in those day and age, but I did not look at one. I asked people for directions. Well, how do I get there? Well, you just go up 23 or 33 or something like that. I mean, I probably couldn't even get there without the freaking iPhone at this moment. Regardless, so our friend James, he wanted to come along as well, and he also went to Reynoldsburg. So this is like a big deal. So there's three of us piled in this car, and we start the drive, and not really knowing where it was, just kind of knowing the general vicinity in some directions. So I started the process, and of course, after a few wrong turns, and really not knowing where I'm going, but eventually we get to the stadium, or the stadium where they're playing the football game, and because here's the deal, it's like where I grew up in Indiana, in Scottsburg. Indiana is big on basketball. Football was never that big of a deal where I was growing up. It was always basketball. Of course, for our school, it was girls basketball. Boys basketball was not that great, and we had a football team, but we had a band, and the band was huge. Band was huge where when I was growing up. But our football team lost so often that they eventually got rid of the program. I think my junior year we did not have any football team at all. So I had never actually been to a football game that had real people there. Had anyone there other than the band, because the band at that when we were doing it, we would use the football games as practice. So we would all be out there to cheer for the team, but we always use it for practice for the marching and everything like that. So we had to park way far away from the stadium, like in the grass, like way far away, and we have to walk up this long drive. We finally get there, and the place is packed. It's just full of people, and it's like, I have never seen anything like this before. And I'm not really big in crowds. I've always been kind of a social phobia kind of person. So I was really awkward, really uncomfortable in this whole situation, because there's a bunch of teenage kids around, and I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. And so we buy the ticket, we go inside, and we're trying to find, and I do not want to lose James or Stephanie. I do not want to lose them. So we're like, all right, you guys got to stay next to me. We're going to go. We're like pushing the crowd. We get it. We're trying to get the visitor stands, and everybody's looking at us really weird. And so we're trying to get the visitor stands, and Stephanie goes, Jared, that's not Reynoldsburg. And I'm looking, and I'm like, well, are they over there? Looking at the home stand. And she's like, Jared, that's not Reynoldsburg. We've come to the wrong game. We drove out, we walked up, we purchased the ticket, we're standing on the track that goes around the football game. They're playing the game on the field, and we went to the wrong game. And I'm having a hard time believing this. I'm still not making that connection. It's like, no, we're here. We're at the game. We're at the football game. Thinking, this is the game. I had set that in my mind. And, of course, it took them a little while to convince me that I had gone with the wrong location. Because really, I was just looking for a stand with lights, thinking that that's probably it. Because, you know, football's not that big of a deal. Nobody goes to a football game. So Bart's family owned the Gahanna Grill in Gahanna at the time. And so we decided we were just going to just go there and start drinking. That seemed like the more reasonable thing to do at that point. And so while we're driving around 270 from Dublin, where we were, to get to the game, we passed another high school game, and James taps me on the shoulder and is like, "Hey Jared, there's another game going there. Do you want to stop by and see if maybe we can start?" So that was it.
Jared. You just kept going to all sort of like high school football games in the tri-state area, just trying to figure it out.
I was in charge.
So, were you in the band?
Of
Were you there to play in the band?
no, we were just there to visit. We were just
Okay.
there to watch Bart play football.
Gotcha. So for half that story, I was picturing you in a band outfit. And then suddenly, I was like, wait a minute, maybe not. So then that went away.
Now,
but...
she was wearing Bart's Letterman jacket.
Oh, well, classic. Anybody here have a Letterman jacket? Shame. Yes, I wanted a Letterman jacket so bad when I was in high school, and I was at like Goodwill the other day, and it was for some random school, and I was like, you know, who's gonna know? Some pins on it. All right, give it up for Jared.